urge you to just decide if you need to sell right now or if you can wait until spring. You wanted the fall market and you didn't get it. October numbers are in here and they did not impress us like the September numbers did in the Brampton area. We've got all the numbers here. We're going to go over them. We're going to dive a little bit deeper. We're going to talk about the individual categories of properties. We're going to talk about the condos. We're going to break those down. We're going to talk about what this all means for the coming months because we are now in November. It's getting cold. We got the Christmas tree up. Is the market going to get better right now, or are we in for a long winter and we're waiting for a spring market to pick things up here? So we are going to start off by looking at the detached homes in Brampton. Month over month here, the median sale price was up slightly, about $10,000 were up. We're talking 1%, so very, very minimal. This can be skewed fairly easily depending on the amount of transactions that actually took place. You're going to notice the listing volume tapered off. So we did not have an influx in October of listings like we did in September. We tapered right back down 18% less. And something that's really important to note here is when we're looking at the year to date, we've dropped 12% on the transaction side of things, 2,100, and last year we had 2,400. So we have not seen a better market for the detached homes in the Brampton area. We have dropped almost 300 plus transactions here, and it's showing me that even with these rate reductions that have been happening, it hasn't got the buyers more excited on the detached side of things, at least. Or maybe the sellers are just saying, screw this, I'm not moving anymore. I am just going to enjoy the home that I'm living in and see how things work from there. The median price year to date, we are down 7.5% on the median side of things. And of course, the new listings, we are seeing some sellers try to get it done, but the transaction side of things, with those buyers not wanting to transact, some sellers are trying. Some of this is going to be inventory that's just been relisted after relisted, but we've got 19% increase on the listings, 12% decrease on the sales side of things. These are not matching. We need a little bit of a balance here. We need the buyers and sellers to balance it out, but we don't have that, which is why we're currently in a buyer's market. So if you're looking to sell a detached home in Brampton right now, this is something to consider, right? We are tapering down into the slower market. And if you're only looking to sell, you might want to wait for spring if you can, because as it gets colder, the only people who are looking to make a move are sellers who need to because they've bought something, or the buyers who are trying to get a really good deal. So maybe selling your home in the winter, depending on what your home offers, you may not get this same kind of value as you would come springtime. But that's just the traditional real estate cycle that we have. Nothing has been traditional about the last couple of years. So maybe November, December numbers are fantastic, but traditionally things definitely slow down in our business world. Now let's take a look here at what semi-detached homes are looking like. Month over month, we dropped off 5% transactions. I'm not overly concerned. That's only 4 transactions here. The median list price, people are finally lowering their prices slightly, and the median price for sales is slightly up, 0.3%. So negligible at best. Year to date now, where are we? We're down 18% on the transaction side, so even worse than what the detached homes were, and then 21% increase in the new listings volume. So we're seeing that same pattern here, where the buyers and the sellers are not on the same playing field. More listings, better opportunities for buyers, but buyers have to be willing to pull the trigger. And a lot of buyers right now, we're having those conversations with, hey, next year your prices might be even better than today's prices potentially. Let's look at what the attached freehold townhouses are going to offer us. 2% negative on the month, not a big deal. 10 transactions more. So we saw more people coming out to buy properties on the attached row townhouses in September and October actually. And October is seeing a bump as well. So of course, slow summer leads into the fall market. So a bump on both of these for the September and October numbers here. Let's look at the median list price. So that's not bad to see a $20,000 drop, a 2% reduction from the sellers. It's just showing you that the sellers are having to make adjustments here. They're willing to drop the prices a little bit to get the deals done. Year to date, we're a lot tighter on transactions than we were in the other two categories, only a drop of about 3%. That is because these are more affordable homes, with that median price being in that 750 bubble this month at least. More people can afford that. It's still not cheap, but more people can afford it. And then we're seeing a little bit of a lower increase than the last couple categories as well on the new listings volume side. So 1,900 compared to 1,600, 14.9, call it a 15% increase. The reason why I believe you're going to see less of the listings volume coming up here is because there's a gap, like a pretty significant gap to go from a freehold townhouse to a detached house. It's unlikely you're going to go from a freehold townhouse to a semi-detached. It may not give you more space at all, but you're probably going to want to go from freehold to a detached home. And if that's the case, you are going to have to come up with another $300,000+. And that's a big gap, especially if you don't have enough equity in your current home. Now, let's take a peek at the important categories for all those first-time home buyers. We'll do condos first. We saw them come down again. And what is that? That's an 8.1%. My eyes, guys, I'm sorry. 8.1% decrease month over month. Condos are very limited in transactions. So we'd had 12 instead of 16. That's a big 25% dip. But on the year in total, we are down 20%. So we're hit that 20% mark for transactions that have decreased. And then when we're talking inventory, we've seen an increase of 15% on the inventory side of things for condos. New listings, we did see less condos hit the market, but one of those stats that we're always paying attention to is those terminations, and we're seeing 35% of these listings being terminated because they're either not selling or maybe they're trying to refresh the way they look on the market. That is always something that agents are trying to do. It's terminate a listing, maybe make a little price change, make some kind of material change to the listing to get it seen in the markets a little bit more visibly. And we're going to finish off with the condo townhouse category here. And condo townhouses, as you can see, 612,000, 3.5%, 4% up month over month, which is actually pretty good. On the year, 640 is the median price that you're going to pay for one of these. This is not a bad price if you're looking to get into the housing market and you can afford to pay into the 600 to 700 range. I'd probably go here if I was you, instead of going for a condo. The condo market is just a nightmare right now. There's too much inventory. Brampton's not really great for condos. Some of the way they're built, it's just not impressive at all when I'm in them. It is what it is, right? The builders are trying to build things as fast as possible to get people in those units, but the quality doesn't seem like it's there for me, at least. The transaction volume, we're seeing it down, of course, 17.4%, and the inventory, which is always important when I'm looking at these numbers, we got an 11% increase. Not as bad as some of the other categories, but we have some of these people who own a condo townhouse and they're trying to make that move up. It's unlikely they want to get out of the market altogether at this junction. They probably want to make a move up to a freehold, whether it's semi-attached townhouse still or going to a detached. A detached would be a really big jump for a lot of them. So that's where the inventory kind of stands here. There is one thing I do want to show you because I thought it was very, very interesting to see, and that is the listings waterfall here. And you might be saying, what the heck is a listings waterfall, Mike? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it to you because we've seen it in a few videos. Let me just open up Brampton here so you get a little bit of a better sense. All right, so here it is. This is what I'm talking about here. And really what I want to show you is a couple different things. How long is some of this inventory sitting on the market? And you can see, even if you go back to January, beginning of the year, there's still a little bit of this inventory sitting there. But for the most part, July, June, August, September, there is some stuff that's sticking around. You can see here, 10% of whatever came on the market in August is still on the market. 28% from September is still on the market. 68% of October's still on the market. The thing I want to kind of highlight here is properties being taken off the market. Look at these percentages all year. 70, 71, 73. So we're seeing a lot of properties being taken off the market. And you might be thinking that's not a big deal. But look at this. As I scroll down here and get to that 2021, 2022 era, look how low some of these numbers were. We were seeing very, very few properties actually coming off the market via termination. We were seeing them sold very often here in the first week of being on the market. Now, as you watch this go all the way up here, look how little we're seeing properties being sold in that first week. Even in that second week, that third week seems to be, or that third and fourth week seem to be the weeks where we are getting a little bit more action on properties once they're sitting on the market for a little bit. But this is just to show you kind of how slow the market is, how many people, in this case, over 30%, or I guess just under 30%, are actually selling. Most of these are being terminated right now. Even if you look, it's gotten a little bit better in the 60s here as of August, but that's still 40% of properties are selling and 60 are leaving the market. So the market as a whole is not getting better. It's flat at best, which I think is okay for now. We really need to understand the time of year that we are in. We're currently in November. The market is not screaming. Things are crazy crashing right now. It's definitely not going up anytime soon. And there's a couple different ways to look at it. There's the I am trying to buy my first place, or maybe upsize from townhouse to a semi-detached, for example. And then there is the first-time buyer who is trying to get into the market. So if you're either of these two buyers, the winter is a really, really good opportunity for you, because if there are sellers out there with their homes still on the market in those cold months, November, December, they're probably not the most excited. Their home and their landscaping does not show at their best. And this is going to be your room to negotiate with them, to get a deal, to get something done that works for you, that works for your family, and you're going to feel like you got a really good deal. Now, if you are selling a home, you need to understand this is going to happen on the sell side, but you're going to capitalize on the buy side. And if you're looking just to buy your first home, this is the opportune time. In the next 12 months, until next November, this is the best time. Second best time would be next summer, if we're looking at traditional real estate cycles. So keep that in mind if you're out there on the buying side. And if you're on the selling side, I urge you to just decide if you need to sell right now or if you can wait until spring. I could be wrong. Spring could suck, but I think spring is going to give you a better opportunity to get your home sold faster. Not necessarily for more money, but maybe a little bit less stress-free, a little bit less downtime on the market, and a little bit quicker, which is what a lot of sellers want. They want their home sold fast. They don't want to deal with it being on the market. So if you can wait, and if you're not in a rush, push it. Push it till the spring, get it back on the market. But understand you could be throwing away some money because the market could drop. But if you're buying as well, not a big deal, because transacting in the same market means you're going to be okay. Now, if you're curious on why people are actually just leaving the GTA altogether, it has a lot to do with the data. So watch this video right here. It's the most recent video. It's going to be something that walks you through the types of homes that we are really just lacking in the GTA. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.